Hello, I like to share a little simple extra dimension to the Atmos equation that something's usually missing. Usually when you see on-screen action, if I go to I think it'll be on the main menu now. It's just a slow disc. So. Usually use the remote to jump a few. Looks like a familiar movie, doesn't it? Okay. Just wait for it to lock on all the okay. So I'll put a time up on the screen. I need to turn on the other. Just turn on the other surround channels. In case you're wondering, there's height 1, height 2, height 3. Using an outboard matrix decoder, so side surrounds still outputting down here. If I want to go use regular side surrounds, they're on regular. Mute the surrounds, turn the fader up. Nothing happening at present until the airplanes come a little bit nearer. Now they are. That's above. It's moving around on the other height 1 with height 2. Height 3 is a bit muted at the moment, and then sort of like sounds goes on and off. Sounds familiar to other sort of like some 7.1 mixes of early times, even some very early DVDs, like where, well, you know, if they're taken off from the original mix and they haven't been really tampered around with, they still retain the sort of they're there sometimes and then they're mute, you know, because it's discrete. Yeah, the mono discrete surround might come on and off at certain times. If it splits around, they may come on and off, or they may be constant. It just depends on how, you know, they want to do it. It's sort of similar today, you know. Sometimes the overhead surrounds are like kaput mute. Anyway, I'm going to put the below surround on now. I'll turn it back off. I'll put it back on. I'll turn it off. Go back to regular surround. Regular. It's very difficult to distinguish. Anyway, the below surround are on. And there's one under there. Little JBL control one. I've got 12 of them that I like to. And the other one, it's a bit difficult to see. Got to put the light on. The other one's under there. And, oh, cool! Oh, blimey! The only things playing at the moment, present. You know, let's put the rear back surround on. The only thing playing at the moment are there. I could activate the middle back surround. The side surrounds are running, the overheads are running, and the below surround is running. A few extra speakers down here, some JBL SB2s there, and over one way over there, and they're sort of helping to extend the side surround bass down a little bit, just a bit lower, or a bit more enhancement. And then one right down there is where the centre back, or rather it's the centre below surround sub bass, and because it's omnidirectional, you know, you ain't gonna know. Oh, here it comes. Whoa, that went underneath. Just going to put a bit more, got plenty in reserve here. Plenty in reserve for a small THX Cinema. Whew. Well, that's going to be a bit of a oomph. Whoa, wow. Whoa, and I can hear him going over that way, as well as sometimes in that direction. But if you look at the angle, because these are sort of typical cliches in films, where you often see an object that's producing sound, something that we can relate to in the real world, sometimes maybe in the fantasy world. You always see the typical cliche of you know, it's sort of going this way, that way, or sort of kind of that way, and then it kind of then appears, you know, going that way, you know, when it's sort of a direct on sort of thing, or this way, that way, you know, this way. You know, you always got these typical cliches, and one of the probably famous ones is, you know, like dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Oh, it's not quite like it. It's more like that, isn't it? Dun 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 dun. Yeah, you know, you got those sort of typical cliches, you know. Yeah, right. Overhead in space. Yeah, right. So how the heck's the sound going to reflect? And you know, if it was in the atmospheric world with reality, yeah. Because if you're in a plane, think about it. If you're in a plane in midair, you know, you're going to have sound objects below you, above you, side to side, behind you, side to side. You know, all different angles. If you got so many of them, I would guess you'd be able to, well, I would be able to detect the individuality of different sounds and the pitches of the engine. Yeah, but, you know, not many people are going to want to care about that too much. But anyway, this is something that hasn't bothered me too long, because the idea of having below surround more or less came to an idea back in 1998 when seeing The Peacemaker 1997 film in SRD down at local cinema, and seen it a few times, and yeah, because it was a action sort of thing, and there was nothing on TV at the time, you know. So on one of the occasions of seeing it again, chatting with one of the projectionists at the back of the auditorium quietly, and to give an example, so this is not quite like a, you could say, so if I was standing at the back talking with him, he's over there on that side, we're over, and I'm on this side, and we're at this side of the auditorium at the back, and it slopes up. The screen's very big, and when the train was leaving during the opening of the film, the opening titles, the Russian train leaving with all the warheads, because they're disassembling all the nuclear warheads. The way the train leaves with the camera, so the camera's up at that angle, and you got the train here, and it sort of goes like that, and then the camera makes a move up like that. So it's kind of like, well, I've experienced many times in the past, you know, you stand on a bridge, train passes by underneath, yeah, you hear it going underneath, don't you? Because you're above it. Unless you want to stand on the tracks and get splattered, that wouldn't be a good thing. Now, so the train leaves in the, you know, in the film, and it passes onto the surrounds, but to where we were and having the conversation about, oh yeah, great film, blah blah blah, you know, and then we weren't really talking about the surrounds, and then until we heard it, and then we're going, and then I looked at him, he looked at me, we paused, and we said, it should have come below us, it should have sounded below us. Anyway, because of where you see the speakers there, right, commonly in cinemas, they're placed up so high, aren't they? Now, if I were to stand up on something, I'll be a little bit more nearer, I'll be a bit more, and if I could go up a bit more higher, then the sound starts to, you know, you play pink noise. Pink noise is very easy. I'll just turn the light off. Pink noise is very easy, so you could you know, you experiment with a little speaker and you move it up and down in front of you, or you get someone to do it for you, because you're going to know where you're going to move your arm. But me, I listen to the orientation of the signal, what it's doing, and then I think, well, you know, a little bit more, a few more years ahead, I think it was about another year or two, when the film came out on DVD, it kind of frustrated me at the time, because I thought, what, how can I get that sound of that train to pass underneath? Because, you know, it's going round on the surrounds in my other home, and it didn't make sense. You know, the limitations to what you have on hand. You can matrix some sound. Whoa, well, that's brilliant, that. Just go back to the beginning. You can matrix the sound, which has been done since, oh gosh, late 90s. Not exactly new idea, it's more of a discovery, and you sort of like think, well, okay, we'll phantom this signal into there, antiphase it, and then the decoder is going to see the antiphase signal and put it in a different position, even though it's going to occur at the same time with the other, you know, who cares, you know, as long as you can get something that's here, and here, as long as you can get something like that, who cares, you know? If it gives a bit of extra more dimension to the movie, you know, even though movies are, you know, the sound and all that is, it's impossible to recreate the real thing. It's totally impossible, because when you think you hear dialogue and such, you know, think of like this. It's a good recording, right? It's not like recordings of like 50 years, 60 years ago, where they would be very rough sounding. Okay, you think of it like this, you know, it's good today, but it's still impossible. Anyway, you see where all these planes are, because you can see them on screen. They're at different angle, different altitudes, aren't they? Some appear to go there. It's just whoa. As well as hearing something like up there. It's just a little bit more extra, and it's just simple. All you need to do is just connect up a matrix decoder up onto your stereo surrounds, and then activate the Pro Logic mode or a PL2X. Experiment with a PL2X. I've got a load of Onkios and Denon and such in my cupboard, along with one of my other Atmos Marantz AVRs. I could connect those up, but they're very bulky and big, and I'm running out of rack space here, and this is good enough. That's good enough. That's good enough. So if I mute, turn it off, even though the lows are still being, you know, from the side surrounds, and a bit of the overhead. Put the below surround back on and put it off. Put it on, put it off, put it on, put it off. That's just basically it. It's a bit of a long video, I know, but you get any idea, yeah? Everyone likes to take the extra AVR and sort of connect it up and sort of like try and get, you know, 9.6, 9.8, whatever, with your 0.1 channel, because you can't call it a 0.2, because if there were two LFEs, like LFE 0.1, LFE 0.2, great. You know, I've even tried rigging the subs up individually to height 1 and height 2, height 3 on this overhead surrounds too, because I'm listening, as well as watching the image. Well, that's pretty good. That had a nice sort of whoa. That had a kind of nice sort of sense of free falling. Oof. Except the rest of the sound element, that's it might be there. I mean, it may not be there. I mean, I don't think I want particularly to skydive out of an airplane, whether the parachute or the reserve is sound. I don't care to. I don't care for that sort of feeling. It's pretty scary. It might be an adrenaline rush. You might have a death wish. I don't care for it, but I know that going back to the beginning of the movie again, I know what it's like when you're standing on the side of a swimming pool and then you dive in and you can feel a brief moment of that sort of, you know, or on a diving board, as long as it's not too high. I mean, I don't mind heights around and below surround, and I just don't like heights. Strange. And yeah, I don't like putting these up, you know, even though, you know, they got to be put up on the ceiling, you know. You can't bounce the sound up, you know, that just doesn't work. It does, but the effectiveness of it is pretty waste of time. You're chasing your tail around, and overhead speakers on ceiling for surround channels have been used for many decades in other cinemas in the UK. That's just about it. So, oh yeah, plus the bass shakers, you know. But I was looking at someone's thread, and I saw something. Well, I'm thinking about maybe redoing my seat riser And I know you can get some nice JBLs. They're shallow. They're a bit more shallow, but that means I've got to make this a little bit more, you know, just a little bit more. Yeah, it's an option, but it's a heck of a few days of you know, building it and then fitting everything in, and I've got to get the tools to cut the wood and routers and but yeah, to put maybe ooh, a coaxial, yeah, maybe something like a 12-inch coaxial. So you got tweeter on it, bass driver, they're fitted, boom boom boom. So they're going to do the bass, they're going to do the high range, and yes, you can hear the high range, and or you can hear the sound. So if I go, let's keep this video going as long until, okay, let's go over to, let's go over to the AVR. AVR's got, whoa, I've got pink noise playing already. That's just all, that's every channel using the, and that just duplicates the same pink noise all over the place. I just need to turn off those. Turn that off. Turn that back on. Oh yeah, I turned that off, that other amp off for the. Okay, that's my below surround sounding. Of course, the speakers are a little bit different. It's not impossible to get the pink noise, the sound tonally close. It just takes a little effort. I've got enough EQ on tap to do that, enough PEQ to do that. That's the below surround sounding. And microphones up there. Let's see. I'll give this a quick wrap up with a. I'll start it at 20. Start around about 20 there. Well, maybe 25. Okay, and go up to 20,000. Okay, let me just check. Got level rising up there, but I'm not seeing a what's it. I think I know what it might be. I think I know what it might be. Let's take that off. Put that back on again. Preamp is plugged in, otherwise I wouldn't have been seeing those levels moving up and down. It's just tap the microphone. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's turn that fader up a bit. Oh, extra gain. Okay. A bit extra. Alright, it says it's too low, but hopefully that should have recorded. Just checking the mixer. The pan pots are, yeah, okay. Okay, go to and there's my frequency suite. got the contrast up too high up on the screen. Turn that down. There's my frequency sweep. That's no smoothing, and well, you know, it's picking up high frequency. And if I needed to amplify or increase the high frequency, I could either put some frequency cut down here and then just give it a little bit more amplifier boosting. But yeah, it's not too far off going up to, you know, the high frequency range. So yeah, and pretty good on the low range. Yeah, go and get your extra AVR out, start wiring up and testing. You know, I like Alien Covenant. That's pretty cool on Alien Covenant. Sometimes it even makes me feel like the sound is going this way, sort of that, you know, a blow with when that what do you call it, that where that girl's fighting that alien on top of that crane thing. And of course the crane thing, you know, when it passes overhead, goes over the middle height number 2, because the signal's on your side surrounds. And so yeah, when I'm, you know, got all the extra, you know, get a little bit more. And I'm thinking about also putting a matrix decoder on the height 1, height 2, height 3, because I'm thinking there is a little bit more possibility there of well, if you can think it, I suppose, yeah, it's doable, it's feasible. Anyway, that's the video. Bloody hell, almost 30 minutes.